Hello, thanks for joining us. This is Platform. I'm Ruth Aguela. It is a known fact that political parties have remained vital and indispensable tools in institutionalizing democracy in most democratic institutions in the world today as we know it. They serve as an intermediate role in democratic societies, a connecting cord, so to say, between the government and the people. Basically, the main aim of a political party is to have its party candidate contest and win elections through seamless electoral processes, of course. In Nigeria, we have seen internal democracy in parties' structure that may either make or mar a party, which is why a regulatory body overseeing the affairs of political parties is mandatory. The Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC, Inter-Party Advisory Council, I beg your pardon, is the umbrella body of registered political parties in Nigeria to strengthen Nigeria's democracy and electoral process. Part of its objectives is to promote dialogue and adjudicate between or among political parties, promote the mutual interests of all political parties in Nigeria to contribute to peaceful, free, fair, credible and transparent elections, to promote adherence to the provisions of the Code of Conduct, to advise and work harmoniously with the Commission in the discharge of its functions. But you may ask, how has IPAC been able to sustain the roles of political parties in consolidating and deepening democracy, ensuring an environment conducive for successful elections, political stability for the overall well-being of Nigerians? Our focus on Platform today is promoting inter-party engagement in Nigeria, and our guest is Engineer Youssef Sani. He's the National Chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. Thank you very much for joining us, Engineer Sani.
Thank you very much for having me, Ruth.
All right. And we'll take you through a bit of his profile. Engineer Sani Youssef hails from Bidda, Niger State. He attended Harvard Business School, Boston, MA, USA. That was in June 2003, Executive Program Certificate. He had his executive program certificate. Columbia University, New York, USA, 1976 to 1978. BSc Industrial Engineering. Institute of Technology, New York, USA, 1975 to 1976. BSc in Engineering also. He has held various positions from diverse fields, from the Federal Ministry of Finance. He was part of the Technical Committee in Nigerian Export Supervision Scheme, Oil and Gas Sector, consultant also for the review of the Federal Ministry of Export Guidelines for Oil and Gas. That was in March 2011, and he's still holding that till date. Ministry of Finance, also legal metrology consultant for the pre-qualification and appointment of the oil and gas export pre-shipment inspection agents. That was in June 2010 and still up till date. Consultant and senior partner at NTA, that is Nigeria Extractive Industry Initiative, upstream and downstream hydrocarbon measurement and handling study. That was in 2009 to 2011. Physical and process audit in June 2011 to September 2013. Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. He was consultant, CEO, development of legal metrology infrastructure for delivery of weights and measures services in all sectors of the Nigerian economy. That was in 2012 and still holding that to date. Niger State Government Secretary, Gubernatorial Committee on the Development of Bidda Basin. That was in 2011, still a member of the committee. Engineer Youssef has attended several courses, seminars, workshops, both locally and internationally. He has chaired various boards on corporate governance. He is a member of the All Progressives Congress. He joined in 2015, still a member till date. He was an elder with the PDP. That was in 2011, member Board of Trustees, ANPP, August 2002 to 2005. Gubernatorial candidate APP, Niger State. That was in 1999. Gubernatorial aspirant UNCP. That was in 1998. National Financial Secretary, Liberal Convention. That was in 1993. There's a whole lot you would love to know about Engineer Youssef Sani. But let's leave the profile at that. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been on all sides of the divide, so it's good to have you on platform.
Thank you, Wallace.
We have a panelist on the program, that is Timothy Youssef. Is a political correspondent with us here in NTA. Timothy, thank you for joining us on platform.
Thank you, Ruth. My pleasure.
All right. Engineer Sani, I can call you that, right?
That's right, of course.
Yeah. Well, you are a man of different sides. You've been in the private sector, the public sector. You've been in the political scene for a very long time. And which is why you're holding this position as a national chairman of IPAC strongly. So it's no coincidence.
No.
You have your years of experience looking at your records. Fast forward, present situation, the reality on ground, party primaries are underway. And we've seen this year's, a lot of people have said 2023 general elections will be very, very, highly competitive, and the expectations are high. A lot of people want to see who these flag bearers of the political parties are. Some have already started emerging, but the big wigs, of course, we want to see those ones.
That's right.
So what is your all perception about what is happening in the country, in the political scene at the moment?
Well, thank you very much, for having me. Let me quickly, also tell you that I'm the national chairman of Action Democratic Party.
Okay, good to know.
As we speak today, yes.
Okay.
And yes, as the national chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council, we definitely have the responsibility to ensure that there is decorum. We have rancor-free, especially now that we are having this exercise of the primaries by political parties, and that we have meaningful engagement with INEC, who is the regulatory, authority for party politics in Nigeria. IPAC, like you rightly said, is there to deepen democracy, to ensure that we have multi-party system in Nigeria, because one-party system is not anything that we want to have in a country like Nigeria, with all sorts, the diversity and economic, potential, huge one. The most populous, country on the continent of Africa. The biggest economy actually on the continent of Africa, and with huge natural resources waiting to be tapped in terms of the benefits that it will that are accrued to the citizens. That is where politics come in, because democracy is all about dividends of the democracy itself. A democracy is a system of governance. So that is why it is important that we get the process right, so that leaders that will emerge, especially the process we're in now, recruitment of leadership is through the political parties who conduct primaries like the one we're having now. And that is why it's very important to get it right, to ensure that those that will emerge and become leaders after this exercise are people that have what it takes in terms of the track record, what they have done before for the country, and in terms of empathy, how much do they really feel for the people, and in terms of people that can exhibit that go-getter, mentality that Nigerians have. I'm talking about, for example, a Nigerian outside this country, given opportunity, we are always number one, or a very good number two. Look at what is happening in America today. If you look at Biden's administration, Nigerians have played important roles in key positions of that government. You can count more than 10 that are holding very high positions in that administration. You go to Canada, you go to even Britain, you find Nigerians really contributing their quota at the highest level of governance. So meaning that we have leadership qualities, we have resources in terms of human capital, and what people that can really give this country the leadership it deserves. So this is why political parties are very, very important, because they are the ones that Constitution has given the responsibility of giving you leaders, in the elections. So yes, we as IPAC, are very much aware of this responsibility. We are very much aware of the fact that Nigerians must have high level of regard for political parties.
And
what
I'm
you
sure
find happening today is not what it should be. People think politics is a dirty game. It's never a dirty game.
That's where I'm headed, because
Yes.
I'm sure IPAC has its eyes, closely to these political parties, and it is the prerogative of all registered political parties, irrespective of status, whether you're in the ruling or opposition party, to be under the supervision of IPAC, which serves as a unifier.
Yeah.
Just before Timothy comes in, will you briefly just explain this to us?
Yes.
Is there that unity among these parties?
Yes, there is, because the goal is one.
Okay.
Meaning that how do we deepen democracy? How do we ensure that there's internal democracy in the individual political parties that we have? Even though it's a voluntary organization, what can I tell you now? Like, even internationally, you have organizations like OPEC, that they come together to, one, protect the interests of their members and see how they can effectively engage with the other players in the economy in the world. So same thing here. You have NBA, you have also Nigerian medical associations and things like that. So same way that we have IPAC, so that we can be able to project the image of political parties in the right perspective, so that Nigerians will begin to respect and appreciate and wanting to identify with political parties. That's why IPAC is there, because people have a wrong impression of politicians in this country, which shouldn't be, because this is the most important organization in all the institutions that are in the democratic governance, the ecosystem. The only very most important institution is the political party, because all other institutions, all other players, all are produced by political parties, from Mr. President to the councillor. They all come from political parties, because that's the only organization that can give them the platform to contest and become leaders in their own right. So this is why we are very important, and we recognize that. That's why we come together as a body, so that, like I said, people will appreciate and, in fact, want to belong to political parties.
IPAC chairman agreed that IPAC is the umbrella body covering the 18 registered political parties as it were today. But then all political parties are equal, agreed. There is no smaller political party. But then, what is the level of participation of the two major political parties in quote, the PDP and the APC? Because it appears that they play little or no role at all in IPAC activities.
No, they do. They do. You see, for instance, the last engagement we have was INEC. All of us were there. All political parties are there, and the decision to ask INEC to now reconsider the timetable is by all political parties under the auspices of IPAC. That's what. So we interact, and then why do we interact? Because we have one objective together, and it is important for us to change the narratives about political parties as Nigerians. I mean, so that Nigerians will see political parties as a very serious organization. So that is why IPAC is very relevant in the scheme of things, and that is why even the big parties, so-called big parties, because we believe that all parties have the same registration in the eyes of the law. The Constitution regards all of them as equal. Now what happens is that, yes, if you happen to have formed governments, some have been there before some. So naturally, those who have been there before, the new ones that are coming will, of course, occupy more space. But with time, the young shall grow. That's what we said. So I believe that the Inter-Party Advisory Council is a council that is recognized and respected by all political parties, from APC, PDP, ZLP, ADP, APC, Labour, the 18, like you said, political parties.
Some persons believe that IPAC is an appendage of INEC to say. How would you react to that during the biddings of INEC?
No, not at all. In fact, yes, you could say that we have a very cordial relationship with INEC. And that does not make us subservient to INEC. For instance, this issue we're discussing today of extension of time, adjustment of time rather, we have told INEC that this is our position. We respect the views of INEC too. They are saying it is late now for us to say they should tinker with the timetable. But the point I'm trying to make is that we are in no way, an appendage of INEC. No. The reasons why we are created, in fact, is to ensure that INEC, in the discharge of their responsibilities as enshrined in the Constitution and the extant laws, does not in any way, trampled or do anything that will not be in favor of political parties, because laws are laws, yes, and they must be implemented.
Yes.
But these laws were made by men. Definitely there are some shortcomings, and if you do not have a body like this that will now checkmate, I don't know which other word to use, so that INEC will also, in the exercise of their duties, will temper, some of these the laws implement in a way that it does not in any way affect.
That's part of your statutory mandate. That's part of your statutory mandate.
That's part of our mandate.
So to overlook some of these shortcomings,
yes.
How much effort have you put in place to ensure that these irregularities are streamlined?
No, they are, because we are, for instance, like management of political parties really, what it does is management of crisis. So in every political parties, you do have crisis, internal one,
yes,
and sometimes maybe external. So IPAC normally comes in to engage in this alternative dispute resolution, which is ADR, where we call the parties together instead of going to court and then spend time and money. And the court is not there to understand some of these political dynamics that parties face. So it's better that we resolve issues politically. That's what we've been doing. Many political parties have had crisis, and we wait, and then we resolve it. When we come together like this under an IPAC, we're able to save the situation. So, and even with INEC, INEC, if any time INEC wants to do anything, he invites the IPAC to come so that they can now, deal with the political parties through IPAC. So it's playing an important role. Like you have NBA, you have all the associations. They're there to protect their members and ensure that their engagement with the rest of the world is properly situated. That there's no misgivings, there's no unnecessary attack or on any member of the organization, because the attack on one is the attack on all.
Basically, your role is just to douse the tension. I know Timothy is itching to ask a follow-up to that.
Yeah.
Timothy, go ahead.
Thank you. At the moment, Nigeria is a nation in search of a new crop of leaders ahead of the 2023 general elections, and political parties, of course, are critical in a moment like this, especially with primaries coming, or which are already on. But then IPAC came calling for extension or adjustment through the timetable. Why the call?
No, the call was informed by the realization of the fact that this is a very, very serious exercise. Because if you remember, most of the crisis, most of the litigations that you normally find is pre-election crisis matters, and pre-election matters emanate from the conduct of the primaries. So, and plus the fact that this law itself, this act 2022, it's new, it has not been tested before. So we feel that because conduct of primaries is very, very important, crucial in terms of ensuring that you are able to sift through whatever information given to you by would-be candidates. You are able to check, ensure that their papers, are correct, even though they will swear to an affidavit, in a court of law. But that notwithstanding, the parties are held responsible if you present somebody whose papers are not, who has presented false, information. The party will be fined up to the tune of 10 million naira. The national chairman or national secretary of the party will also, be fined, in a way. So we feel that, and aside from that, like I said, and I'm repeating myself, recruitment of leadership in every country is very important. That you do not allow the process to be rushed in a way that you will probably not get to address some crucial issues, very critical issues in identifying somebody that will deliver, on the mandate of the political party as an agent of the political party, rather, because like the ballot does not carry the picture or the name of the individual. It is the symbol of the party that you find there. So you need to take time to make sure that the person you are putting forward as your representative, as your agent representing you, is somebody that Nigerians will vote for, and is somebody that also is of good character, somebody that you can vouch for. And all these things cannot be done in a haste. So plus the fact that if you look at recent developments in this country, people have been talking about zoning. This one said it's our turn, this one said so political parties.
What is your stance on that? Now that you've mentioned it.
Yes. Yeah. No, political parties need time to explain, to the various, sections of the country, to ensure that at the end of the day, when you bring out somebody as your candidate, everybody, to a very large extent, will accept it. Because it's a social system, because it goes by persuasion, because you can't force anybody. You have to engage, civil society organizations, cultural organizations, different regions, and say that, okay, for so many reasons, this is how we want to go about bringing out our, candidate. It's crucially important.
So why is this year's process different? Why are parties, especially the two major parties, a lot of Nigerians are anticipating, okay, let them talk about the zoning. Let's see it happen. Why is it?
Zoning. Zoning, you see, it's just a political jargon as far as I'm concerned, really. Yes, it is. It has when you talk to people about zoning, what somebody will tell about zoning, one person will tell you something, another one will tell you something different. And it's all about sentiments. It's all about what comes to us. And you can never, get it right if you go in that direction. And that is why we always advise that political parties should go into their caucuses and what have you as a political party, discuss the issue of who represents you as your candidate during the general elections. Don't disturb the citizens, electorates that have nothing to do with these primaries. Unless you are a member of a political party, you will have no influence. You will not be consulted actually who the party is bringing out. So zoning should be things that parties discuss within their own organization internally. Then, if Party A brings out, somebody, and Party B from one region or of particular faith or whatever the issues are, then another one brings somebody out from another region, with particular faith or something like that. Then the voters are free to choose anyone they want to choose. We have 18 political parties, and all these 18 political parties, to my knowledge, every one of them is hoping to find a way by which they can present, somebody, either collectively or individually. I'm aware of some discussions going on.
But in the democracy, should we even be talking about zoning? of elective offices?
Well, I think merit should be what people should be concerned about. We should be bothered about more than issue of where the person is coming from. So this is why
it should be credibility.
Exactly. Thank you
and
very
integrity.
much. Exactly. Those are the things.
So you want to put it, if you want to fix it strictly on zoning, and you're not having credible leaders, with all due respect to different geopolitical zones in Nigeria, then what are you giving to the people?
Exactly. That's the point we are making, that it shouldn't be about whether the person is of a particular faith or is a particular region or tribe, or even gender. If a woman can do it better, why not? If somebody from Calabar or somebody from Bida or somebody from Yola or from Abeokuta or wherever, is the one that is capable, that has given account of his records, track records, and because it's about performance really. Take for instance what is happening to this country today. I mean, it's so obvious that we didn't get it right, in the first instance, because if we had gotten it right by the leadership recruitment, perhaps we would not be where we are today, because perhaps all these things that are happening to us may not happen. But again, another thing why you find people talking about the issue of where is the person coming from, and you have so many people coming out to say they want to contest and to become the president in particular, is because this is one election where the incumbents factor, will not be, strong, because President Muhammadu Buhari is not coming out again to contest an election. And we are also looking forward to change of, political leadership from one party to the other. Just like what happened during Jonathan's time, 2015, that perhaps maybe ADP will now be the one that will win the next election. So there will be a change of, leadership from APC to ADP. So, but then, so that is when democracy would have been given its full, bath, to really come out as something that is supposed to be used to confirm or withdraw your mandate, from the person that you have given to a particular party.
I see why Engineer Youssef said ADP if the candidate emerged, because you're the national chairman.
It could be any other party, really.
Okay,
it could be any other party, but that's one that I can remember quickly. So
Chairman, sir, the Electoral Act Amendment bill is here to be assented to, thereby bringing a situation whereby some of the political parties already in their primary election processes have resorted to avoiding the use of statutory delegates to avoid future litigations per se. How will all of this impact in the coming elections, in the event that it's not assented to?
I think Mr. President has given assent.
Okay.
Is it not?
It has not been signed into
the amended
version.
Are you sure he has not signed it?
Oh, well,
you guys should know better than me, really.
There are calls that he should. Well, a group is actually asking that the president should not assent to it, because it will, cause a lot of confusion in the electoral process.
Yeah. Talking about Section 84.
Yes,
I have
Section 84.
Okay, so Engineer Youssef, let me hold your thoughts there. We'll get to this Section 84, Subsection 8 issue just after this break. Stay tuned.
Sees that the Buhari-led administration has made remarkable progress,
like Lafia Transmission Station nearing completion.
Africa does not need charity, but partnerships that will promote the adequate investment
with the cooperation of all.
Sharing firsthand the experiences of reporters on the field as they bring to you weekly the beauty of Nigeria's diverse culture and the economic potentials therein. The Correspondents, development through the eye of the grassroots, showing every Monday at 1:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA, with a repeat broadcast on NTA News 24 and NTA International. Join us.
makes someone set out on a journey and not get to his or her destination?
Extremely important.
Imagine the victim who cannot reach out to these responders, who doesn't even have the phone to reach out. Hello, thank you very much for joining us on platform. I'm Ruth Aguela.
And the girl, especially if the girl is a minor, she's not yet 18 years, if she gets pregnant, realize that such girl is sent out of school and the boy is left in school.
Just park to pick the call.
So how much sensitization is the FRS?
I don't agree. A lot of people are just defiant.
All right, thank you for staying tuned. It's still platform, and we have Engineer Yabagi Sani Youssef, National Chairman of IPAC, still having a discussion on promoting inter-party engagement for Nigeria.
That's right.
Now, we're going to talk about Section 84, Subsection 8 of the Electoral Act, which says that delegates who are allowed to vote at the primaries or national convention shall be those democratically, elected for that purpose only. And, there's been issues around the president assenting to the amendment of the Electoral Act 2022, because they said it would disrupt the process already going on. Primaries have already started, parties have aligned. So that's what Timothy was trying to bring out.
Yes. No, well, I think, political parties are better advised, not to include statutory delegates, in their electoral college. Reasons are like we have said. What about if Mr. President refused to give assent? And even if he gives assent and then it becomes a legal issue, what do you do? Nobody will question you for not adding them. The only thing that will happen is that somebody can take you to court. That except even another, you see, another thing that can happen is that if Mr. President gives assent, a statutory, delegate can go to court
for not being allowed at the primaries that has passed.
To be part of the process.
That you have been denied his inalienable rights, as enshrined in the Constitution, to participate in the process that will produce, the leader, his leader. So that's why, and that is why we are telling INEC that we have to make haste slowly in the implementation of this Electoral Act, because the jury is still out, in the sense that the National Assembly itself is still rushing, like they did, last 2 weeks, is it now, or last week, to still amend this Electoral Act thing. So we must understand that this is new, and it's a major shift, it's a paradigm shift in the way we've been conducting elections in this country. And I give kudos to INEC, amongst the stakeholders that really worked so hard, tirelessly, to ensure that we have this electoral bill, 2022. Electoral Act 2022. But we must be careful how we go about it, so we don't end up with so many litigations that, end of the day, maybe the system may not be able to cope with. So this is why, I'll repeat myself, we're asking INEC to make haste slowly, especially in the recruitment of leadership, the primaries, because care is not taken. We'll just, find too many, litigations to deal with, Even the Section 84(12) is also up there. The decision of the appeal court is also something that somebody can take to court, because I said yes, the other court, the Umuahia, where is that? Does not have jurisdiction. But they didn't stop at that. They said it's unconstitutional. To deny people, participation. It's unconstitutional, isn't it? So who says somebody cannot go to court if he wants to? So this is why we have to be very careful how we go about this new thing. There's nothing wrong, in the Electoral Act 2022, believe you me, is the best thing that has ever happened to us in this country in terms of how we run our elections, because it has now given Nigeria that a leap forward in terms of using technology, which is the trend everywhere in the world. Although the good thing is that we have started, but you see, there are some processes that are supposed to be digitalized, even as we are today, which are not yet digitalized, like collation. You can collect this thing, automatically, but it's not done. Still, it is manually collected. The votes are cast,
Yes.
at the polling unit.
Polling units, yeah.
They are manually counted.
Yes.
Yes, transmission is done automatically.
Yes.
But in the parlance of computer world, they say garbage in, garbage out, isn't it?
Yes.
What about the conduct of the elections, even at the polling unit? What about if some people are able to influence it? What do you do? So that's why some of us are saying it's a very good beginning. Wonderful. But we should go a step further by ensuring that, one, even election itself can be done electronically. Yes, you may say that you can't do it on your handset or something like that. Perhaps we may say that we haven't gotten to that level yet. But when I come to where I'm going to cast my vote, please do away with this, paper. Let me be able to, thumbprint on a screen, If you like, you can support it with the papers. It's okay. But let my thumbprinting be on the screen that will now be transmitted electronically to where it's going to go to. But the process you have today is still fraught with loopholes that people can take advantage of. But one thing that happened is that the beavers, that has eliminated a good chunk of what influence what people multiple voting,
yes.
underage voting, and things like that.
Yeah, it has really eliminated all of that.
Those ones are gone, and that I'm sure are gone forever, which is a good, development as far as process is concerned. But there are still, danger, areas that people must be very, very careful about when elections are going on. Nigerians, I'm saying this one, Nigerians will wake up that it's not that because we have electoral act 2022 and then the electronic voting, electronic transmission of results, it's not electronic voting.
Okay.
They're two different things.
But then, with the primaries ongoing, there is this issue that really bothers the minds of many Nigerians. Delegates voting or not voting in line with the dictates of their conscience, but rather that of politicians with deeper pockets. Is this really the way to go?
Yeah, okay. That brings us back to the issue of the statutory, the super delegates.
Yeah.
You see, super delegates do not need to be physically in the arena before they can have their way. Because those ones you call super delegates are the ones you mentioned, people with deep pockets or what have you, are the ones that have the influence. People coming to vote, I'm talking about the elected, delegates now that are elected at their various constituencies who will come, the super delegates can always influence what they want as far as, what will happen end of the day is concerned. They don't have to be physically there. The question is whether people are voting with their conscience or they are being influenced. And that's why I bring the issue of super delegates, who are the ones that normally influence, the voting, like you are saying. So whether or not they are included, they can still do, what they want to do. It's an issue of somebody talking to somebody before the election or even during the election. So we are not yet out of the woods, as far as that is concerned. But what has happened is that it has allowed, the process now to be at the instance of the political parties. I'm talking about the choice of the primaries that you want to, because we have three now, like direct, indirect, and consensus. And many parties are looking for possibilities, if it was possible, to have consensus.
Yes.
Because that is the freest, of all in terms of crisis and what have you. But again,
there are interest.
Yeah, there are interest, definitely. And for some parties, I think it will be better for them to allow people to exercise their franchise,
yes,
in the manner they want it.
Engineer Youssef, if we want to look at political parties, we know they shape the democratic governance you know, especially in every part of the world, even for Nigeria. If we want to look at the capacity of political parties in terms of the structures, aside from the two ruling parties, but not leaving them out completely, would you say there is a level playing field for all political parties in Nigeria?
Not at all, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Government made some, I don't know, mistake by not continuing to fund political parties. Because I cannot think of any agency of government created by the Constitution that is not funded. And if political parties are a creation of the Constitution, which is what they are, then government must fund, even in America, as affluent as they are. American government still fund activities of political parties in some ways.
Not the stronger ones.
Every political parties, all of them. Once you reach a certain mark, there's a threshold. Once you achieve that, you get something from the government.
Well, some school of thoughts believe that politicians really go about registering parties simply to milk money from government, and I think in that direction, is it really fair?
No. You don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. The issue is that you have a regulatory agency that's supposed to ensure that that does not happen. There's no system that is free of such infractions. Anything that you do, I mean, people want to take advantage of any loopholes. But the point I'm making here is that in our situation, like you ask, whether we have a level playing ground, we don't. And one of the reasons is because government is not funding political parties. One. Number two reason, members are not paying their dues.
Because I was going to ask, parties generate internal revenue.
Where? From who? How? They don't pay. In fact, the situation is the reverse.
Well, during election times, they buy forms. People buy.
No, you are coming to another. You are coming to another area.
Okay.
You see, what you find is that, and I don't know if you remember when APC and the other parties were saying that they were doing online registration. Some, I don't know, some were paying people to register. Was that? Instead of you now paying to the party, the reverse, is the case. So this is why when people are complaining, like you are saying, that parties are charging, exorbitant fees, for those who want to contest elections. I said I'm not in any way supporting, extorting money from people at all. That is not what democracy is all about. Democracy is supposed to be government of the people, by the people, for the people, isn't it? And it means generality of the people. It doesn't say because you don't have money or because you are not this, you shouldn't be able to participate. So it must be a system that everybody should be able to participate and have access, to become whatever you want to become. But the situation we have today is not, in support of that. Like I told you, people don't pay. Government does not pay. So who pays? This is why some parties are now charging what people are saying is exorbitant, because they have to print posters, they have to make announcements, they have to advertise on the television, they have to move around, they have to organize rallies, they have to pay their office overheads and even rents and operational cost of running the political party. And somebody comes and wants to be president of the country, and you say don't charge him. So where are they going to get the money to do all this? Or the president will just be, the parties will just sit in Abuja here, and then they'll be saying that they are marketing their candidates.
A large section of the populace might really be disenfranchised from a situation like that. And
No. You see, it's like a catch-22. The issue now is that this thing should not be exorbitant, isn't it? So that everybody, regardless of your status in society, you should be able to have access to become whatever you want to become. That's what the Constitution says, isn't it?
Yes.
But I'm saying that the underlying conditions, which are realities.
Is the funding, right?
I'm talking about realities now. not ideal situation. The ideal situation that
So, Engineer Youssef, let me hold your thoughts there. You're making a case for the funding of political parties in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people may debate this because if you have government funding political parties and you have politicians registered under different political parties vying for elective positions, some of them are already established. Don't you think it will become a yardstick for people to register political parties, or people just being, real shareholders in the parties because they know funds are directly coming in from the government, when we have a lot of amenities to be met for the public, the general public?
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you, Ruth. The issue is this. Ask yourself, what is the most important business, in a country, or the most important activities in a country? I think it's the political activities, because that is how you recruit leadership. It is this process. Any decision made by these people affects you, your children, generations yet unborn. It affects today, tomorrow, and the care is not taken even yesterday to affect what we have done yesterday. Decisions, made by the National Assembly or the president or governors or chairman of council and things like that affects everybody. More than any other thing. There's no other business that affects you like political parties management. So this is why we are saying that if government thinks it's wise to fund, for instance, small businesses that are trying to make it, SMEs and all this, that you make funds, or you give subsidies to so many areas. Political activities also need to be subsidized because of the role that they play in our lives. It is the only thing that affects everybody, everybody, no matter who you are. So this is why we are saying that government should take a second look at that issue of funding. And why do you have a regulatory agency? It doesn't mean that if we say government funds, it doesn't mean we say just send park money to the political. No. They must meet certain criteria before you give them money. Yes, they have to. Everything that government does, there are criteria. You have to meet certain conditions, isn't it, before you are now entitled to get that money. But to say we are not funding completely, we want to give anybody any money. What are you saying then? How does the man run the party? He goes and what? And you say you don't want money back to hijack the process. And the parties have to carry out responsibilities for them to be political parties. So this is the catch-22 that I think, between the ideal situation and what is the reality that we are in today. The reality of the situation is that, especially in a climate like Nigeria, where poverty is so endemic, government must step forward to support political parties, given certain conditions.
Okay. Well, going forward, proffering solutions now, talking about exorbitant cost of expression of interest and nomination forms. How can we really overcome a situation like this, making it more affordable to
in the near future,
to the generality of the people in future?
Yeah, it's not far from what I have said, that government must come and step up to the plate, to ensure that we have a level playing ground, like you are saying, that people are given, so that a party can now. That is the reason why, in fact, the funding was introduced. There's no other way. For instance, it's even not. It doesn't really make sense when you said you are neglecting somebody, and they say who pays the piper dictates the tone, isn't it? Yeah. So you are not the one funding the operations of this person, and you are now saying no, the person should come and give you his books, what he has done, and how has he spent his money, and something. Is it your money? Is that your money? I'm not in any way saying that they don't have right to monitor what particular parties are doing. But what I'm saying is that the issue is that you have to be able to exercise certain level of contribution before you can now say you had to control.
Well, sir, briefly.
Very briefly.
Briefly. As a chairman of chairmen
Yes.
of all the political parties,
Yes.
there's this issue that trended in some parts of the media, that about 7 political parties have really adopted a particular party ahead of the 2023 presidential election. As IPAC chairman, are you aware?
I'm so happy. I'm so happy about that, because that tells you that we are working together.
Okay.
Because it's about collaboration. You know, there's no one particular party who can really do it. Even APC, PDP, the ones, the so-called big parties, you know, they are always looking for, you know, some kind of collaboration, alliances. You know, we're encouraging it.
But some political parties are already refuting that.
That they are not part of it. Yeah, well, perhaps. You know, it takes a process. It takes a process.
Engineer Youssef, we're out of time, but I want you to, in few seconds, tell Nigerians what you want to see in the near future about inter-party relation. In few seconds.
What I want to see is a very strong, dynamic, all-encompassing, you know, political party that will be able to deliver that dividend of democracy, you know, for Nigerians, because that's the essence of having a political party.
Thank you very much, Engineer Yabagi Youssef Sani, for your time on platform. He's a National Chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, and also National Chairman of the Action Democratic Party. We wish all political parties in Nigeria success, and may the best man win, or best woman
Best
win.
woman, you know, yes. Especially in my party, we have a soft spot for women.
Oh, that's good to know.
Exactly. We are attractive, you know, we go for them.
Okay.
You know, where we can find them.
All right. Timothy Youssef, our political correspondent, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ruth. And thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Timothy.
All right, we have been talking promoting inter-party engagement in Nigeria, credibility, accountability, and most importantly, integrity. If you're looking at leadership qualities of whoever you're choosing to lead you. That's Platform. I'm Ruth Aguila. Bye.